Good evening. We here. You want to shut that door, Henry? Would you mind? Good evening. It is February 1st, the day before Groundhog Day, and winter is at least still here. This is the public comment portion of the City Council, regular City Council meeting for this date, February 1st. We have two people who have signed up in advance to speak. Oh no, 4 people. It magically changed. They are in this order: Steve Young, then Andy Edmonds, then Evan Metzel, then Eric Maloney. Have all signed up in advance. So if you still want to go in that order, that would make Steve Young first in line.
Good evening, Stephen Young, 11 North Newberry Street. A little bit overwhelmed about the events of the past week. I never ever thought I'd be sort of having to defend myself for my actions, especially for not doing anything wrong. I think that's what has sort of caught me most off guard about everything. Of all the articles and everything that come out, the one here from the Daily Record, it says the York councilwoman suggests banning guns at meetings, struck me the most. Where I am referred to as the council critic with the gun in the holster on my hip. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm just doing my job. I am just doing my job. If you recall the events that have taken place in this council over the past years, you'll remember that when council tried to pass various legislation against firearms, that we had over here at this table, which is now empty, we had our police chief, no, I'm sorry, it was a commissioner at the time, Commissioner Whitman at the time. Then we had the mayor of Reading. Then we had 2 paid attorneys, all arguing in favor of this new law that we need. Now, council had a table full of representatives, but who was to take the other side? Who was to hold the line? That would be me and the other people in the room that showed up for these events. You see, it is up to the public to defend our actions. So I am just doing my job by coming to these meetings. I challenge all residents of York City and York County to get involved. How many times have you heard me say, come on, these chambers are empty. Let's come out. Let's talk. Let's look at these issues. So as much as I'm being singled out and called out for doing nothing wrong, I want to say that I am just doing my job, and that the attacks on the members of the public need to stop. I also feel very strongly about a lot of the other events going on, where our mayor has now announced that she needs personal protection. And I say, well, if I'm being told that I can't carry a firearm, but she needs protection to walk around the city, how are we to process this? This is unfair. You need to stop blaming the gun and blame the people. You know, look at the young man that was executed down the street from me was killed by a 15-year-old. We've already got dozens of laws in place that prevent that. I also want everybody to understand that when Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald was being escorted by police, surrounded by police and TV cameras, yet the shooting still took place. Now, we all can't live in that level of preparedness, being guarded by police and cameras. So we need to actually look at some of the situations going on in the city and try and find solutions instead of playing the blame game. So I'd like to throw some caution, for the sake of our taxpayer dollars, to investigate these claims, whether or not the mayor actually needs security, whether or not we needed 2 officers tonight in this meeting, You know, what is this costing us? I mean, I feel like I'm sitting in a cab watching a fair go. This is not fair to us at all. Taxes were just raised almost 12%, and now we're being trumped up on fear that we've got to bolster our personal police protection. I just find all of this to be a bit unnerving, very unnecessary, rather juvenile at best, political stunts, if you will, and I don't necessarily appreciate it being called out as if I've done something wrong. So I know that those people that automatically know me and support me already know this to be true. Clearly I'm not the threat. Clearly the events in Arizona have nothing to do with what happens in York. So we need to respect each other, I think, a lot more. And that is, I think, if anything, the lesson to come out of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy Edmonds.
Good evening. My name is Andy Edmonds, and I'm the co-founder of the Hanover Tea Party Patriots. Our state constitution starts off with, all men are born equally, free and independent, and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property and reputation, and of pursuing their own happiness. And it goes on to Section 2 where it says, all powers is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. For the advancement of these ends, they have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such a manner as they may think proper. The emphasis here is on the safety, freedom, peace, and happiness of a single sovereign citizen. I would like to read two more pieces from the state constitution. Section 21 is the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. And Article 6, which is the oath of office, which goes, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. I'd also like to point out two Pennsylvania state statutes. 18 PA-CS 6120. No county, municipality, or township may in any manner regulate the lawful ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation of firearms, ammunition, or ammunition components when carried or transported for purposes not prohibited by the laws of this Commonwealth. Also, a person acting or purporting to act in an official capacity or taking advantage of such actual or purported capacity commits a misdemeanor of the second degree if knowing that his conduct is illegal. He subjects another to arrest, detention, search, seizure, mistreatment, disposition, assessment, lien, or other infringement of personal property rights, or denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, power, or immunity. This last statute makes it clear that an official using their power to impede the exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, power, or immunity is committing a second-degree misdemeanor of treason. If such an infringement on our Constitution and legal rights is imposed, we, the people of the state of Pennsylvania, will hold our elected officials accountable both at the ballot box and to the letter of the law. Thank you all for your time.
I will appreciate it if you will leave me a note with the citations that you have
Yes, ma'am.
made so I can include that in my notes.
Yes, ma'am.
Evan Menzel.
Hey folks, name's Evan. I'm a responsible, law-abiding, completely sane gun owner who happens to carry every day of his life. I'll try to be brief, but quote, as Andy just said, in these two documents, our state constitution It says, "The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned." A legal proof called American Jurisprudence, Volume 16, Edition 2, states, "A written constitution is not only the direct and basic expression of the sovereign will, it is also the absolute rule of action and decision of all departments and offices of government, with respect to all matters covered by it, and must control as it is written until it is changed by the authority which established it. No function of government can be discharged in disregard of or in opposition to the fundamental law. The state constitution is the mandate of a sovereign people to its servants and representatives. No one of them has the right to ignore or disregard its mandates, and the legislature, the executive officers, and the judiciary cannot lawfully act beyond its limitations. Disobedience or evasion of a constitutional mandate may not be tolerated, even though such disobedience may, or at least temporarily, promote in some respects the best interests of the public. Neither emergency nor economic necessity justifies a disregard of cardinal constitutional guarantees. The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned." John Rowland of the Texas Libertarian Party elaborates, "Any unconstitutional act of an official will at least be a violation of the oath of that official to execute the duties of their office, and therefore grounds for their removal from office. No official immunity or privileges of rank or position serve the commission of unlawful acts. The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. These meetings are open to the public, and this council exists to serve the public. I may be a political nobody with no clout to speak of, but the law protects my right to speak here. Just as, regardless of this council's temerity, that same law protects my right to carry the means to defend my life. The hubris of this council has truly gotten out of hand if they mistake the privileges we have granted them for carte blanche authority. They don't have it, and they never did. And it's time you were reminded of that. Thank you.
Mr. Menzel, also will you give me the citations that you referred to? Eric Maloney, please. Okay. Are there other persons who wish to speak on issues not on our agenda for tonight? That's what we do in public comment session.